Ser Otto Hightower was a knight from House Hightower, who served as Hand of the King to 3 kings, although 2 of the kings removed him from office at various times. He was the younger brother of Lord Hightower, and the uncle of Lord Ormond Hightower of Old Town. His children included Alicent Hightower, the second queen of King Viserys I Targaryen, and Ser Gawain Hightower, second in command of the Gold Cloaks. Otto is remembered as a warning that knowledge is not everything. Otto Hightower fights, or should I say serves, on the behalf of his grandson, Aegon II Targaryens, against Rhaenyra Targaryen. Ser Otto first served as Hand of the King after the death of Prince Baelon Targaryen, the hand and son of King Jaehaerys I Targaryen. Otto effectively ruled the 7 kingdoms as Hand in the final 2 years of Jaehaerys' reign, while his daughter Alicent Hightower nursed the ailing king. Otto continued as the Hand to Jaehaerys' grandson and successor on the throne, Viserys I Targaryen. He became a bitter rival of the king's brother, Prince Daemon Targaryen, who had been named Master of Coin. Otto convinced the king to remove him from office, and did so again when Viserys named Daemon Master of Laws. He came to regret this, however, when Daemon was named commander of the City Watch, as this put 2,000 men under Daemon's command, and the prince thrived in this new office. Otto feared Daemon would become a second Maegor the Cruel if he ever ascended to the Iron Throne, sharing his fears with his brother, the Lord of the Hightower. Thus, by this time, Otto wished for Princess Rhaenyra to succeed her father. Otto's daughter Alicent became King Viserys' second wife in 106 AC, after the death of Queen Aemma Ryn. In 109 AC, Otto was removed as the Hand for hounding Viserys to declare Alicent's sons the heirs to the Iron Throne, instead of Princess Rhaenyra. Having no place at court anymore, Otto returned to Old Town. A queen's party known as the Greens, the group of powerful lords who were friends with Queen Alicent, remained, who supported the rights of Alicent's sons. In 120 AC, Otto returned as Hand after Lord Lionel Strong died. When Viserys died in 129 AC, Otto played a crucial role in crowning his eldest grandson as King Aegon II in defiance of the last will of Viserys I, which specified Rhaenyra as the successor. This defiance precipitated the civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. The Dance of the Dragons began with Otto serving as Hand of the King to Aegon II Targaryen. According to Orwell, Otto ordered the confinement of Lord Lyman Beesbury in the Black Cells. Ser Gawain Hightower, Otto's son, was named as the second in command of the Gold Cloaks, behind Ser Lothar Largent. The Blacks' Rhaenyra Targaryen's faction opposing Aegon's Greens included the battle-tested Prince Daemon Targaryen, who in the course of his pre-war adventures had made many foes, including Otto. After the death of Prince Jaehaerys Targaryen at the hands of Daemon's assassins, Blood and Cheese, Aegon ordered deaths of King's Landing ratcatchers. Otto brought 100 cats to the Red Keep. Otto reached out to other enemies of the Prince Daemon, the Kingdom of the Three Daughters, as allies. They were crucial in breaking the Valyrian blockade in the Battle of the Gullet. Otto was unsuccessful in gaining an alliance with Corin Martell, the Prince of Dorne. King Aegon II told his grandfather thrones are won with swords, not quills. Spill blood, not ink. Aegon II perceived Otto's diplomacy as slothful at a time, when Prince Daemon had captured Harrenhal, and many houses had declared for the Blacks. This led to Otto's replacement as the Hand by Ser Criston Cole, the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, despite the pleading of Queen Alicent Hightower, Otto's daughter and Aegon's mother. It was only after his dismissal that Otto's diplomatic efforts bore fruit. Just as he had predicted, Otto was the first to be beheaded as a traitor by Rhaenyra, after the fall of King's Landing in 130 AC, which was not the end of the Targaryen civil war, as Rhaenyra later loses King's Landing, but it was the end for Otto Hightower. Actor Rhys Ifans will play a role of Otto Hightower in House of the Dragon. HBO's official description of the character reads, "The Hand of the King, who loyally and faithfully serves both his king and his realm. As the Hand sees it, the greatest threat to the realm is the king's brother Daemon, and his position as heir to the throne." The show will stay true to the books in this matter. Otto's greatest rival in the books was Prince Daemon Targaryen, and he will also be in the show. But most of the other things, however, will differ from the books. Not only will there be differences between the books and the show like it was with Game of Thrones, but after reading the book Fire and Blood, you still don't know how most of the events really played out. Some would think that you could just read the book Fire and Blood to know what will happen in the show based on that very same book, but that's far from true. Why? Because Fire and Blood is not a conventional novel, it's an imaginary history book, and according to George R. R. Martin himself, not very accurate at that. Because while Fire and Blood book was written by George R. R. Martin, it was not written from him as facts, but rather through the perspective of the Citadel's Archmaester Gildain, who gathered all info, and as many different sources as he could, and used it to write a book about the Targaryen history. Some info is fake, some info is true, some info is semi-true. No one will know for a fact what was happening in real history until the House of the Dragon airs in 2022. The show, unlike the book, will contain truth. It will depict what actually happened, not the changed history, fake or semi-true, not what might or might not have happened. Fire and Blood is a complete history of House Targaryen, written by George R. R. Martin from the perspective of Archmaester Gildain, who wrote it many decades after the events took place. Sure, most of the main events such as battles and deaths probably did happen, but as Gildain says it in the books, the full truth about what happened behind closed doors, in the privacy of stairwells, council rooms, and bedchambers he does not fully know, and he turns to many different sources, which usually differ from one another. He looks into the course of chronicles, laid down by Grand Maester Runsider and his successors and many court documents as well. Gildain looks into accounts written decades later, by children and grandchildren of those caught up in the events of these times. While they are undoubtedly of use, so much time has passed between the event and the recording that many confusions and contradictions have inevitably crept in. Unfortunately, this is also true for Gildain's two accounts by first-hand observers that have come down to him. Septon Eustace, who served in the royal sept in the Red Keep during much of this time and spent much time as a confidant and confessor to King Viserys and his queens. His account is biased, favoring Aegon over Rhaenyra. The second account is based upon a verbal account of the court fool Mushroom, who was present at court for all of them, for King Viserys, Princess and Queen Rhaenyra, and both King Aegon's, the second and the third. During his reign, King Baelor the First Targaryen had Mushroom's book burned on account of its scandalous content. There are several main sources for historical information on the Dance of the Dragons, which are frequently at odds with each other. Gildain also uses source written by Grand Maester Orwyle, who had served King Aegon II Targaryen on his council, and was arrested by the forces of Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen when she took the city. Orwyle wrote his account while locked away in the Black Cells. Uncertain about whether or not he would survive the war, he attempted to paint himself in the best light possible. Grand Maester Munkens, The Dance of the Dragons, said truth telling was based on Orwyle's account. Using all these sources, which often differ from one another, Archmaester Gildain wrote his work Fire and Blood, his work about the history of House Targaryen. This format brings up Martin's major thematic point about the uncertainty of memory, and history being written by winners. Neither side truly won the war, and decades after the war, both sides wrote their own biased history books, trying to put their actions in a better light. Thus histories written by the Greens depict Aegon II in good light, and Rhaenyra in a bad light. On the other hand, histories written by the Blacks do the opposite. We'll know exactly what happened in this time period when the show airs. And that's why you cannot just read the book Fire and Blood and think you would know what actually happened or what will happen on the show. Books are written by Archmaester decades and decades after the events took place, using many sources that in most cases are very different from each other, and most of them are biased as well. What we can tell you for a fact is that House of the Dragon starts filming in around 3 weeks, and will air in 2022 on HBO. We can also tell you that Otto Hightower will play a huge role. He's the grandfather of Aegon II, and he, alongside his daughter Queen Alicent, starts Targaryen Civil War. The war began when King Viserys I died, started by the Greens, Otto and Alicent Hightower, among others by disobeying King Viserys' orders of crowning Rhaenyra, and instead crowning Aegon as the new king of Westeros. The same day that Viserys I died, Aegon II's followers, the Greens, staged a coup, and he was soon crowned in King's Landing. Rhaenyra, as the Princess of Dragonstone, had her power base on Dragonstone Island, where she responded by being crowned queen by Daemon and declaring Aegon a traitor. Thus, the Targaryen civil war began. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.